I got something to keep me on track. I'm not trying to go off on tangents this time. What's going on, guys? Rad-I-Nation here for part 2 of my tips and tricks through SoundSwitch. If you haven't watched the first part, go back and watch it. I do recommend watching it because I do cover some terminology that I'll be talking about. And definitely, if you're not familiar with SoundSwitch, go back and watch those. And also, if you are new to SoundSwitch, go to SoundSwitch's YouTube page and watch some of their tutorials. They'll kind of give you basics of walkthrough. I'm doing a little bit more advanced, I should say. And so let's get started. Alright guys, so as you well know, I love SoundSwitch. Again, I'm not paid to say this. I wish I was. Alright guys, so I'm going to talk about copy and paste. I know this is so simple. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that don't know this exists. So, for example, this is your track. You know, you're doing some complex kind of color crap going on. Control C, Control V. Copy and paste, my friend. Once you get it a little bit farther, keep going. One thing I am going to tell you real quick, when you are copying and pasting, highlight just the color, or like for some reason if you got strobe with it, that you know it's going to be repeating with the song itself. You can also copy that as well. As you see, it copies. What I'm trying to get at is don't click up here and copy that, because when you do, it's gonna basically give your dimmer curve at 0. You can delete that, or if you're really wanting, you can do some adjusting with it. But just a helpful little tip, just copy and paste what you're wanting. And copying, pasting, also transition to your dimmers as well. Alright, so say you keep doing that and you're, see, boom, copy and paste, my friend. Just boom. You can also do it on different and so on and so forth. So one thing I am going to show you real quick, in your timeline here, see how I got a color there and also got a color here. And if I wanted to say bring those down here to these tracks, I cannot. If you are copying and pasting from two different timelines, you have to use those two timelines only. So if you can recall, I copied from this timeline and this timeline, and anytime I click on these timelines, it's just going to duplicate the only thing that should be on that timeline that I copied. I don't know if this is intentional or what, but this is how it is. So as you can see, for a newer person coming into SoundSwitch, if they have quite a bit of moving heads or park hands or whatnot, this could be a little bit cumbersome for them. Heck, even if it was just they had 8 park hands and 4 moving heads, which is is possible. That can still be a bit for them. So here's my recommendation. Whenever I program, I just start with my moving heads. I figure out what colors I want where. So this is a royalty-free song. You may recognize it. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it, like bounce colors, for example. So we'll go green, yellow, and I don't feel like doing that the entire track, so I'm going to copy and paste. And I'll usually copy and paste a full bar. If it's fine if you go past here. I know some people don't, some people do, it don't matter. What you can do once you got one done, if you want to do all the other tracks the same, you can. So now as you can see, all my moving heads will do that. Or what we can do is we can kind of alternate these. We can do something like that. And so now that my heads change. Alright, so boom, got the colors of my moving heads done. So continuing on with the heads, I want position chase. I'm going to do a half, and I'm going to go with my Warlock. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to throw them down there. Go down here to my beams that I've already pre-made in my attributes, because I'm doing all this blindly, and then in the last video we'll go live and you'll see it. I put that flag in the master down there, and you can also see that flag as a representation of only the beams. Alright, so as you kind of see, that's what I'm talking about, you know, a group of fixtures at a time. You know, the next I'd do my pars, and then my bars, and so on and so forth. You know, I may have to listen to the track, you know, 5-6 times, you know, and watch the light show and everything. Make sure it's right. I'm going to show you some fun stuff. Epic failure on my part. This track is only a minute long. So of course there's no intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro on a 1 minute little track that's the same. But if there was, it would look cool, I'm sure. Alright guys, so attempt number 2 at the AutoScript. The first one I did. So we're going to do another one on an actual song. So the song is America by Earl Dibbles Jr., which is actually Granger Smith. And we're going to kind of do some things a little different. We're going to do low BPM and high energy. Bass intensity, that is the low point that your intensity starts at. The pulse is the height. So if you have it at 0 and 100, that means it's going to go from 0 all the way to full dimmer and then back down. So if you're knowing you're going to be somewhere that potentially may have people with epilepsy, I don't recommend putting it at 0. And if you do put it at 0, I highly recommend you remembering what song that was, because although it is not a strobing feature, the intensity going very quickly can act like a strobe and trigger a seizure. So just be careful on it, guys. So what I'm going to do, just give you an example, we're going to do it 20-ish bass, pulse at 100. The bridge I know is pretty intense on this song. We're going to go 50. Movement speed, sure, why not? And I'm just going to keep all my movements the same. Then we're going to hit apply. It's going to analyze, and poof! There we go. We got an AutoScript. Looks pretty cool. Now, that's how you AutoScript a track, doing all those advanced features. But you want to see something cool? We're going to make all my moving heads white. Now my moving heads will stay white the entire track. They'll do the pulse that's here, or will they? They're actually going to follow this pulse effect up here. Delete. There's a gentleman that I was talking to the other day, and he was having a hard time with a pulsating effect, with his moving heads. So this is the trick that I'm going to show you. After you've auto-scripted, highlight your auto-script, just your dimmer. You're going to copy it, and make sure when you're copying it that you start at the beginning right here. It's very important. Highlight that. We're going to do this to our moving heads. So our moving heads are going to follow that pattern. And we're just going to simply paste this effect over the moving heads. Very cool effect. And then what we can do here is we can delete the entire crazy pulsating stuff down here. So now all our heads will move. I'm going to try to play a little bit of this. So as you can see, it's going with the beat of the song, just the moving heads. And if we wanted to take this another step farther, we can highlight our colors down here. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it on a couple of my par cans. So now what I have is basically my outer par cans will do this color that was auto-scripted for me. It's just taking your auto-scripting and kind of dividing it up. And if you wanted, you can go even farther for the last portion of the song. You can take this highlight this portion, throw it in a different part of the track. So in the end, all you're doing is taking your master dimmer, your colors, strobe if there's any, taking those and putting them in different timelines on your different fixtures. And it creates a little bit more dynamic light show. Sometimes SoundSwitch's automation gets it right, sometimes it sucks. And I come from the era of its automation very well sucked. Before, we didn't have all the cool stuff. Literally, all we had was from here, all we had was this section here. And really, we just had 3 colors, I think. We may have had the highlight. And you had just that. We didn't even have the auto movement down here where you can do, movement effects. We didn't have those. So I know I kind of sound like an old Bart now with this. But that's kind of where I'm getting at. The sky's the limit with this software, guys. Alright guys, so one last thing I'm going to do to this track real quick before I call it a day on this one is I added in my fog for my fog jets to turn on and off here. Again, doing this blindly. If you already have these set, it does help you. It helps you a lot more when you're doing this in front of your rig and everything's live, because if you go ahead and turn your fog jets on, they're going to stay on until you turn them off and make another cue. So if you go ahead and make 2 of these cues on and off, you can just place them in your timeline and you'll save on some fog juice. Alright guys, so hopefully you understood where my brain is going on this. I hope I didn't lose you too much. So until next time, Rad-I-Nation signing off.